Today, let's talk about the total payout model. So, in our discussion of the dividend discount model, we implicitly assume that any cash paid out by the firm to shareholders takes the form of a dividend. However, in recent years, an increasing number of firms have replaced dividend payouts with share repurchases. Therefore, an alternative method that may be more reliable when a firm repurchases shares is the total payout model, which values all of the firm's equity rather than a single share. Okay? So to do so, we discount the total payouts that the firm makes to shareholders, which is the total amount spent on both dividends and share repurchases. Then we divide by the current number of shares outstanding to determine the share price. Okay. So basically, compared to the dividend discount model, where we only talked about dividends, firms can also do share repurchases. Okay. And so a more reliable model to then find out the price of a share, the fair price of a share, then might be the total payout model, in which we take into account both dividends and repurchases. Okay. So this is the formula whereby PO, so the price today, the fair price today of the share price, is equal to the present value of the future total dividends and repurchases over the shares outstanding. Let's look at this exercise to illustrate what we just said. Titan Industries has 217 million shares outstanding and expects earnings at the end of this year of $860 million. Titan plans to pay out 50% of its earnings in total, paying 30% as dividend and using 20% to repurchase shares. If Titan's earnings are expected to grow by 7.5% per year, and these payout rates remain constant, determine Titan's share price assuming an equity cost of capital of 10%. Okay. So, let's write down what we know first, okay, as always. So, firstly, remember the formula. We need to calculate the present value of the future total dividends and repurchases. So, we know that Titan plans to pay out 50% of its earnings in total, 30 as dividend and 20 as share purchases. So we need the 50% of earnings. Now we know that the earnings are 860 million. And we know that half of this, so 50%, is going to be paid out. Okay. So we do times 0.5 to get 50%. And this is 430 million. Okay. And now we need to find the present value of this. Okay? So we need to find the present value of future total dividends and repurchases. But before doing that, let's also write down the shares outstanding. We know that the shares outstanding are, let's see, 217 million. And then we know that the growth rate, so Titan's earnings are expected to grow by 7.5%. So the growth rate is 7.5%. And the equity cost of capital is 10%. Okay. So now the present value of future total dividends and repurchases. So we know that, and I'll write this down as F. So we know that this is the 430, which is our dividends plus the repurchases. And then in order to calculate the present value, because it says that the earnings are expected to grow by 7.5% per year and remain constant, so basically forever, what we need to do is use the perpetuity formula. So basically where we do the equity cost of capital, RE, minus the growth rate. Okay, in order to find out the present value. So for us, this is going to be 430 over the equity cost of capital in decimal places, 0.1, minus the growth rate in decimal places, 0.075. And this should give us 17.2 billion. Okay. So this is the present value of all the future dividends and share repurchases. Okay. So now that we have the present value of the future total dividends repurchases, and we have the shares outstanding, we can find out the share price. So then P0, the share price, is equal to the present value of what we just calculated, so 17.2 billion, over the shares outstanding, so 217 million. Okay. And million shares. And if you plug this into your calculator, you should get that the share price is $79.26 per share. And so this is how to use the total payout model. So let me know down in the comments if this is clear, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.